Hello, fuckos, and welcome to this episode 71 of the Chris Hunter Comedy Podcast with me, Chris Hunter. Hello, folks, how are you doing? Are you well? Have you had a nice week? I hope you have. It's been good. It's been a good week indeed. Welcome to September, everybody. It's September already. Where in the hell has 2019 gone? It already sounds like some kind of weird futuristic sci-fi year to me. 2019. It was the year 2019 when we first invaded the moon and discovered the cheese people. We never heard those words on the news. Why not? I wanted to hear all those words. Everything 2000 plus should have been nothing but sci-fi, alien wars, and sexy star ladies. You know what I mean? That's what it should have been. And alas, here we are, 2019, and the world is falling apart, almost literally in places. Have you seen the size of that hurricane flying about the place in Florida? Holy Scheisenhauser. That is a big boy. That is a big boy. Dorian, I believe it's called. Girl? Boy? I forget. Do they name them after men or women, the storms? They're normally women, aren't they? Let's call it a woman. That's a big girl. Big Bertha, the storm, that is. But it's in Florida, which I'm due to go there in January. I'm very excited about it. I may have mentioned it once or twice. Super excited to be going to Disney in January. But luckily, that is not hurricane season. So I don't need to worry about all that shit that they're going through right now, because that's it getting out of the way right now. Now, sadly, it has affected people in the Bahamas, I believe. But so far, people in Florida seem to be okay. They're just getting the edge of it. They're getting the licks, the little licky bits of the wind at the edge. But yeah, I don't know how I started talking about hurricanes. I was talking about September, and my mind has gone completely blank as to why I was even talking about a hurricane. But hey, it's something that's been on the news. I talk about shit that happens in the past week or so, and that's something that's happened in the past week or so. So there you go. That's how that is. But it's September. It's September the 3rd today for me, but it's going to be September the 4th for some of you folks. That means some of you have got birthdays. So if anybody is listening by the name of Lucy, I would like to say a happy birthday to you. Enjoy your birthday. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Look at that second shout out in the podcast. This woman is special. So yeah, happy birthday. I had a good week. I got a little bit ill towards the end of last week, but I was fighting through. I was doing my old school, no, I'm fine, plow on through the day routine, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This time, luckily, it worked a treat for a couple of days. So I started feeling a bit yucky Thursday-ish. Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere around there. Plowed through Friday, not a problem, because I thought I've got to go to a wedding on Saturday, and I will be well for the wedding. So luckily, that worked out fine. I was okay. Went to a lovely wedding in Manchester to my good friends Jamie and Kaz. They had a wonderful day. It was lovely. We went to the nice registry office place. There was a really funny guy who did the service. I forget what they call them. Not the ordains, but whatever the name is. The guy who works there. He was really nice. He was funny. He was witty, and he made it a good little fun event, even though weddings are normally kind of like slightly stiffer events, you know. I think he kind of eased the tension a little bit in the room. Not that there was tension, but I mean, if anybody would have been nervous, it would have been perfect for them to have this guy. And yeah, it was a lovely day. We went to have some lovely food after that, and then we went to a place called the Dive Bar, which was a bit of a dive bar, but not in a bad way, just in a dive bar kind of way. It's kind of the charm of the title, I guess. I guess that's why they call it that. However, being in a bar and surrounded by Mancunians, and being a Scouser in general, I think I'm allergic to Mancunians. So the next day I was ill. Not like, you know, sick, just coldy, you know, a little bit full of everything. And I'm still kind of getting over it now. It hit me worse yesterday. Yesterday I was just wiped out completely. Couldn't even go to work. So today I'm back. I may sound a little bit stuffy. I may apologise if I get the occasional sniff or the occasional throat clear. Although, to be fair, I think I'm okay right now. I might have to have a few sips of water from time to time because my throat gets rather dry in this particular situation. However, we should be fine. We shall crack on indeed. Crack on is what I would like to say about this situation. One of the things that really bugged me, not about the wedding at all, nothing bugged me about the wedding. One of the things that bugged me about the day of the wedding is that we were supposed to stay over in Manchester on Saturday night and go have a look around Manchester the next day on the Sunday. Have a nice one day, you know, because we haven't looked around the Manc land in a long time. And on the weekend that we go there, there is, what they call it, Extinction Rebellion were there. They're the protesters who are against things and such. And, you know, this is how I feel about protesting, this kind of stuff, okay? I appreciate you've got a point. I usually almost always agree with the kind of point that they're pushing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Extinction Rebellion are about conservation. They're about being eco-friendly and saving the planet and all that stuff. And I completely agree with all that. What I highly disagree with is the way that they do stuff. It's not right to go and block streets, stop people from getting to work, stop people enjoying their weekends because you have a point to make. What you should do is go and protest the people who can make a difference about this. Go to the energy companies' head offices. Camp out outside their building. Piss them off. Because guess what, folks? They're the ones that can do something. We are just people trying to enjoy a day out. We're just trying to have a walk around. Being eco-friendly, by the way, walking around Manchester. That's all we're trying to do. But instead, we have to walk through swathes of gross individuals who've not washed in several years. And that's nothing against all the protesters. That's just some of them. Some of the ones that I saw genuinely stunk, genuinely were hard to walk past. And that's how it is. I apologise, but that's how they are. So anyway, that meant that kind of ruined our plans. So we just went home on Saturday night, which turns out was for the best because I wasn't well Sunday, as I've already said in the previous statement. But it was nice. It was nice to get about for a bit. It was nice to go see everybody who I saw at the stag do again. That was lovely. And then, yeah, it's been a whirlwind of illness and not illness, basically, this past week. Today, I was back in work, as I say, and I went for my lunch all alone because my lunch buddy was on his holidays. He's sunning it up somewhere where I don't even know where it is, but he's having a great time, I assume. But it meant that I went for my little lunchtime walk on my own, and it was really weird because not because I was on my own. I'm an adult. I know how to be alone. And trust me, when you look like this guy, you really know how to be alone. So I was walking around, and for some reason in Knutsford, it was a bloody ghost town. And I don't know why it was. I don't know what's happened. I thought the schools were back and stuff, so I thought it would have been busier, more people, more parents back at work and out on the lunch break. I don't know. It was just a dead ghost town. And it got me thinking, this would be so nice if this was just permanent. I would love it. I sent out a tweet at lunch saying that there's two things that I really, really wish in my heart of hearts were real from the fictional worlds. And that is A, Hogwarts, because when I was younger, I would pine to go to Hogwarts. And it doesn't exist, so that made me a little bit sad. And B will be the Thanos clique from Avengers. You guys know, spoiler alert, the clique, half humanity gone. And I completely agree with that. I don't see Thanos as a villain. I don't. I see him as a conservationist. But you know what? To each their own. Some people think he's a murderer. Some people think he's trying to help. I fall into that latter crowd. Excuse me, I need a sip of water. So yeah, Knutsford was a ghost town. It made me happy, and I would like it to be a more permanent state if you don't mind. Now, folks, I'm quite excited indeed. Today is the 3rd of September for me, which means that this time next week will be the 10th of September, which means that it's going to be time for Paper Tiger, old Billy Bareface's new special on Netflix, and I cannot fucking wait for it, because we saw it live back when he was doing it in Liverpool. It's probably changed quite a bit since, because he had a few more shows before London. Saying that, I think he actually had 2 days. But either way, it's probably changed in some form, and I can't wait for it. I love it when Bill brings out a new special, because he is, hands down, the best in the world at the moment. Although the other day, I saw for the first time a stand-up called Anthony Jeselnik, I believe is his name, and it was really, really good. He's got a new special out called, what is it now? Fire in the maternity ward. That's it. Fire in the maternity ward. Because I watched Dave Chappelle's new special, and that was really good. A couple of jokes I felt like he just sort of took like Bill Burr's ideas and changed it a little bit. But anyway, I'm not here to say that. Lateral thinking in it. But then I watched the Anthony Jeselnik special, and I actually preferred it to the Dave Chappelle one. Now, apparently a lot of people are saying Chappelle's new special, it's pissing a lot of people off, apparently, in the media. They're all like, oh, he's non-PC, blah, blah, blah. When really, he's just doing normal stand-up humour, but he's just not afraid to sort of deal with the backlash of people being oversensitive pricks. So if you don't like what he's saying, that's fine. Don't watch him. That's how this works. It's not like people go on stage to offend you. That's not their job. They don't go up there and say, right, that guy at the back, he looks like he needs offending today. He looks like he's on the end of his rope. Let's push him a little bit. That's not at all what they're saying. People are going up there with a routine in mind. They've got some kind of idea they're running with. They run with it, and somebody in the audience might take offence to that. That's fine. You're entitled to take offence. You know, you do know you're allowed to be offended, right? It doesn't mean that the person who said the stuff is wrong or that they should change what they said. It means that you have been offended by this. That is fine. Move along. That's like, for example, if you trip over and you graze your knee, right? You then don't sue the world because you landed on it. You go, okay, I've scraped my knee. Let's move on with my day. That's the same thing as being offended. You just had a bit of a scrape on your ego and you've got to move on for your day. And that's, again, what am I talking about? I'm a bit woozy today, guys, folks. Guys, folks, wow, that's a new one. I am a little bit not with it today. So if I'm being a bit odd, you know why. Like I said, I'm still a bit ill. I'm low on energy. I'm low on energy. And I'm just trying, you know. Now, I'm looking forward to Thursday. Thursday? Yeah, Thursday night this week. I'm going to go and watch the new It film, It Part 2. And I don't normally like horror films, but I watched the last one, the last It, the Bill Skarsgård one, and oh my god, it was great. It was really well shot. I thought it was really nicely set. All the scenery and things all fit in really well with the theme, and I liked it a lot. And I'm looking forward to the new one. And they're doing the double bill at the cinema, so I will be there. And I've booked Friday off because I don't know how late it's going to finish, and I know that my Charlie is quite useless on minimal sleep. So if it runs quite late, she's going to be like, I can't go to work, I'm too sleepy. So we thought, you know what, let's book a day off. We haven't done that in ages. Let's just have a sudden day off, and that'll be nice. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, It double bill, that should be a cracker. And also the Joker is looking good. I saw the new trailer for the Joker. I can't remember when it's actually out. It might be October. I may be completely making that up, but the final trailer is out for it now, and it's looking brilliant. It's meant to be R-rated apparently, and it's quite twisted. But so far, it seems to fit the Joker's character pretty damn well. You know, I think he's not trying to be Heath Ledger. He's not trying to be Jack Nicholson. He's not trying to be anybody else. I can't remember the other guy's name right now. I feel very bad. Romero. Anyway, it's not trying to be any of the previous Jokers. He's trying to be a new one. And it works well. It feels like if Joker was a human, was an average person who just leaned a bit towards the crazy route, you know? That seems to be where he's going with it. And yeah, I think it looks sweet. I can't wait to watch it. Now, with not being well, I've been playing a couple of games this week as well. I have been playing more Judgment, which I told you guys about the other week. That's the spin-off game from the Yakuza series where you play a detective and you chase people down. You go and look at certain scenes of crimes and you look for evidence and you try and come up with conclusions. You question people, you find things. It's a jolly good show indeed. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I love the immersion that those games give you. They really do give you a feel of being in Tokyo, surrounded by the noise and the chaos and the... I say smells. You can't smell them, but you get the idea there will be nice smells there from all the restaurants and stuff. But anyway, I've been playing some more of that, and it's brilliant. And I've also been playing Astral Chain, which is a brand new game out by the people at Platinum Games. They're the ones that make Bayonetta, and they made Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. And it's, you know what, it's a fantastic game. I can't tell you what kind of game it is because I've never really played a game like it before. I mean, it's kind of like an adventure battle-y type game, but basically you've got this thing, right? It's basically like a ghost mech. You can control it by this chain thing you got attached to it. I'm going to guess that's the astral chain. I don't know for certain, but I'm guessing that's the case. You can control it with this, and you can slip between the current world and the astral plane, the spiritual realm, as it were. And you can use it to fight with, and you can fight with your own blades and stuff. It's a really, really cool game. I love the style of it. I'm already like a third of the way through it. Absolutely plowing through it, and I'm loving it, and it's getting me to play my Switch a bit more as well, because I don't play my Switch enough. I love it, don't get me wrong, I really do love playing the Switch. I just don't play it enough, because, let's face it, I don't get much time to. Speaking of not having much time to, I haven't had much time to do my Japanese studies, and by much time, I mean I've been either procrastinating or too lazy. So I've been trying to get back on top of that. Yesterday, I forced myself whilst ill to spend some time doing some Japanese. This morning, I did a little bit. It's little victories, folks, you know? You don't need to dive straight back into everything doing an hour a day like I used to. I can just gradually build it up. So I can do 5 minutes a day, half an hour, you know, build it up. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Learning one word in the day is better than no words, you know? So that, as long as you look at it that way, it's all positive. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to positively sneak my way back up the Japanese ladder. And one day I will be Nihongo ga jozu desu ne. I will be very good at my Japanese. I think that means Japanese skilled. Something like that. I just said words that came out my face. That's the joys of learning after a while. You know words, but you don't really know where they go. So they just pop out your mouth and you go, yeah, that was probably right. I don't know. I think a native would probably be able to get the gist of what I'm talking about. Or, you know, at least be able to rearrange the words into their special Yoda-ish way of speaking, where they swap around the beginning of the sentence, whack it at the end, and just chuck in a few extra bits for good measure. That's the Japanese language in a nutshell. Now, I have been doing this podcast now for quite a while. I love doing the podcast. I do it every week whenever I can. Sometimes, obviously, I have to skip it a little bit. You know, things come up. Life gets in the way sometimes. Sometimes, whether it's illness or just situations you can't avoid, sometimes I can't always do the podcast, but I do love doing it. So I've been trying to look for some ideas to try and improve the podcast in some kind of way. And I reached out to some of you folks on the old interwebs. Some of you came up with some ideas. I basically asked, what podcasts do you guys listen to and what keeps you coming back to them? You know, what kind of thing do you like to hear in a podcast? Because I can try and implement that kind of thing into mine if I think it's something that suits my kind of style of podcast. And people were saying that listen to things like the Joe Rogan podcast for the entertainment and the education as well. Like there's educational stuff in there. But I mean, I love that kind of stuff, but at the same time, I'm no Joe Rogan. I can't keep a conversation going for 3 hours. Also, you may not have noticed this, I'm alone. I don't have a conversation to go to. Now, I like the idea of some educational stuff, but I also want to try and keep it fun. So I'm going to try out a few different little things. Other people have suggested things like the Frank Skinner's podcast because they like the chit chat. Again, I'm alone. This is all the chit chat you're going to get. But I do plan on having guests. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I plan on having guests in the future at some point. It's just really hard to organise it. I want to try and avoid doing like Skype ones. But at the same time, I'm not completely against the idea. But I think there's something about doing things in person. That's all that little bit of extra special, you know? Like, I don't know if you guys have got any suggestions for guests to have on the podcast, but by all means, let me know if you do. You guys know the social media stuff by now, and if not, I'll tell you at the end. But yeah, if you got anyone you want me to interview or chat to, tell me. I'll do that. But anyway, like I said, so looking for ideas to improve the podcast. I've got a couple of things I'm going to try out today and see how we get on with it. Okay, see how we go. So I thought, while I was thinking about educational stuff, I thought it'd be interesting to have some slightly quirky on this day trivia type stuff. You know what I mean? Like on this day, for example, means, so today's September 3rd. So I'd say, you know, on this day, September 3rd, 1939, Britain and France declare war against Germany. You know, that kind of stuff. Now, don't worry. It's not all going to be serious stuff. That is just literally the first thing on this page, because I've got a webpage here I've looked at called This Day Trivia. Thank you very much, thisdaytrivia.com. Not sponsored, but, you know, it's useful, innit? Oh, speaking of not sponsored, sorry, guys. Because I went to a wedding on Saturday, I didn't go to Dark Side of the Spoon or Cafe at the End of the Universe, but those guys know I love them. They know that they do amazing food. You all should go there. It's amazing. Again, not sponsored, just love the guys. But yeah, so that's what yes, trivia. That's where we were. We were talking about trivia. So I saw a couple of cool things here. There was, where was it now? Oh yeah, this is crazy, right? On September the 3rd in 1993, right? There was a month-long contest in a Swedish newspaper, right? That pitted a chimpanzee against 5 stock analysts. You know, people who work on the stock market, right? They wanted to see who could earn the most on a $1,250 investment over the course of a month, right? So you got one chimpanzee. Yes, folks, not a human, a chimpanzee. They have one of them against 5 humans whose job it is to do this stuff. And guess what, folks? The chimpanzee won. That's right, the chimp won. In a month, the chimp had earned on his $1,250 investment, he had earned $190, whereas the stockbrokers only earned $130. And the chimp was picking his stocks by throwing darts. Throwing darts at some selected stocks that were on the wall or whatever they were doing. They were just throwing darts. So folks, you know, if you're going to do the stock market, that's the way to do it. Make it random as fuck. Just close your eyes, throw a dart, boof. That's who you go for, because apparently it just works. Something else that happened on September the 3rd in 1967. I heard about this. I saw a picture of this and it's very cool. You should Google it. Google the day the Sweden swapped sides of the road that they drive on. Because at 6 a.m. on September the 3rd, Swedish drivers stopped driving on the left-hand side and they moved to the right. How fucking weird must that have been? Like, imagine just driving along at 5:58 a.m. Like, I'm going to work. What's the Swedish accent? I'm going to work. I don't know Swedish. But let's pretend I do. Pretend I've got like a translator on, okay? So I'm speaking a Swedish accent right now, okay? I'm going to work. It's 5:58. Life is good. Ah la 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 la. This song has been on for 2 minutes now. Holy shit, everyone's on the wrong side of the road. We all gonna die. Like, if you look at the picture on Google, it's just absolute chaos because people have clearly either forgotten that today was the day that they were supposed to change sides of the road, or they just knew and thought, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to get one more day out of this. I like being on the left. And you know what, guys of Sweden? I don't blame you. I like driving on the left too. It's quite nice. What else happened? First, no news from Uncle Sam. Is this still interesting? I don't think this is interesting anymore. But hey, we got a couple of good bits out of it. Oh, the American Revolution ended. So, you know, they won, innit? The Treaty of Paris and all that jazz. So, well done, America. Right, so yeah, that's the trivia for today. But anyway, I like that kind of stuff. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys like to know stupid little tidbits of trivia? Something else I wanted to trial is a little thing I've basically stolen from Bill Burr's podcast years ago. He used to do an underrated, overrated, or overrated, underrated segment where he'd pick something that he likes and say that it's underrated, and pick something he doesn't like and say that it's overrated. I'm going to have a similar thing called thumbs up, thumbs down. So for me this week, thumbs up, fruity porn star martini mocktail. I had it for the first time at the wedding on Saturday, and it was freaking delicious. And it was a mocktail, so there's no booze in it, but it was just gorgeous, tasty passion fruit, juicy goodness. It was very viscous. I don't believe viscous is the word you should use to describe a drink. I feel like it's more of a soup situation, but this was absolutely lovely. It was super strong because when the guy was making it, he had one of those squirty bottles that, like, you know, like ketchup comes in, the plastic ones. Not the ketchup you buy at home, but the kind you get at like a cafe where it sits on the table, it's got the little screw top and the little pyramid on top. He had one of them and it was full of passion fruit, sauce, like really thick passion fruit sauce. And anyway, he's squeezing that out, but he's squeezing it so hard that not only is it coming out the nozzle, it's also pissing out the seam where the lid screws on, and he hasn't noticed. So he's just pissing out double the amount of passion fruit into this drink. And it's like, oh, it's so strong, but so tasty. But it was that strong that I can still taste it now just thinking about it. But it was delicious. So if you're ever at a pub and they do a fruity porn star martini mocktail, do yourself a favour and get one. It was delicious. Now, thumbs down from me. I've mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again. People texting whilst driving. If you text whilst driving, do me a favour right now. Just throw your phone as hard as you can into your own head, because you don't deserve a phone or a head because you're using neither in a sensible fashion. If you're driving a car, do not ever do anything with your phone, even if it's picking a new song, changing the volume. Nah, none of that shit. That stuff gets done before you set off or when you've stopped and parked somewhere. And I don't mean at lights. Nah. Don't be texting your buddies, oh, stuck in traffic, what am I going to do? You turn up late, that's what you're going to do. Or you stop off at a service station, or you pull over somewhere. You don't just text whilst you're driving, you knobhead. So that's today's PSA out of the way. Now, folks, that is the end of this podcast for this week. But remember, if you've got any questions for me, or if you've got any feedback on the new features, or things that you like or dislike about this podcast, I super appreciate any feedback, or even recommendations from you guys for good games or anything like that. Just hit me up on social media. Chris Hunter Comedy Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that jazz. And on Twitter, I'm at ChrisHunterCom, which is short for comedy. So remember, folks, also I'm on iTunes and Spotify, and anywhere you can listen to your podcast, you can find this podcast. I appreciate any ratings or subscriptions, or even just telling your friends about the podcast. It really, truly means a lot to me. So thanks a lot for listening, folks, and I will see all you beautiful barstools next week. Bye-bye now.